please, most times when I make presentations, I don't necessarily, the slides might be good enough for us to get screenshots and take notes, but I usually say more important things than what's on the slide. The slide is just to guide us. So please, if possible, you might want to have maybe your phone on somewhere, or your WhatsApp on, or your notes on the standby to be able to write down some things. So because it's going to be important, I'm going to be giving out some additional tips that might not necessarily be on the slides. I try to make the slides less wordy so that I'll have more time to discuss. And I'll try to kind of finish probably within 30 minutes or probably 30, 45 minutes, then have sessions for Q&A. I think the Q&A are going to be important. That way, if I'm not able to touch aspects of what you wanted to hear, they can ask me specific questions as to how it relies on your businesses. So the next step is the question, digital transformation. So we're looking at digital growth, business transformation, and this time I'm not bringing the two, the first word and the last word together. Why is digital transformation important? And because of the AID, I had to get our SDGs in a second here to understand that not only in the context of the platform, but in the context of the way the world is going. Some years ago, we talked about Millennium Development Goals. We're targeting at the end of the millennium. But now they're looking at it's not just about achieving, it's not just about achieving the goals, achieving developments. The major point is to see how to sustain them so that we don't have to go in and out again or starting it from afresh. In terms of our businesses, in terms of our education, it's not just enough to become the first-class student, or not just enough to become the richest man in the world. How are you going to sustain that? Because somebody could come and knock you off the next day. So these are the goals selected by the United Nations Council and, diffused across the world. And the concept is that, and now one important thing I want us to know is that when you think of the SDGs, I mentioned all of them, you might assume, the one about the food, zero hunger, about the food, about the climate, life underwater, and the likes. They are just the basic tenets or the basic titles. So if you want to tell yourself that you're aligned to SDG 1 or 2, or let's say, for example, zero hunger, that is the SDG aligned to. It's not enough to say that you're aligned to that, because if you're to be in an interview, or you're here for those of us that are getting grants and proposals and the likes, the major question is, if you have to do your extensive research into the SDGs, you see that each of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till the end have subsets underneath them. So you can't just come out and say zero food. For example, if you are educating farmers on how to use Jumia, for example, or an e-commerce tool to buy agricultural products online, that means the fishes that they need or the maize that they need, instead of buying the maize outside that are probably bad variety, there are probably easier options available that they can use their mobile phones to place orders and it gets delivered to them. In a way, that solves hunger, because nowadays the farmers can actually buy sustainable varieties that are, either pest resistant or disease resistant, and makes it a lot easier for them to have less post-harvest loss, harvest loss, have more production capacities in their farm, get more yield per hectare that they're planting the maize, additional income to their families, more food for the society. That way, it solves zero hunger. So I believe we are, especially for those of us in the agricultural sector, I believe we are looking at the mix. And then for us as teachers, for example, whether you're in academia or not, the point is that you should see yourself as an educator. So the academia doesn't necessarily mean you're just doing maths and English. You are thinking your audience is just the students. No, your audience could be anybody. So any of us as teachers can decide to go to, packaging. That's what I talked about in my grant proposals. Understand what the needs are in your community, package a training, go to these farmers and train them. So you could just ask yourself that, okay, as a teacher or as an educator or as a tech person, what is my main aim? For the SDGs, you just see maybe education, you go to join down, which is not as bad enough as it is. You might look at the zero hunger or the food for all, and I don't align with this. But at the end of the day, imagine if you not take your educational aspects and diffuse it into agriculture. You're teaching farmers, you're teaching the market women, you're teaching the logistics guys that deliver food and trucks and the likes, and all those other things. In a way, your SDG or your main impact is not only aligned to the educational sector because you're educating, but in the context of your audience, you're educating farmers. With the education the farmers have gotten from you, they can now rely on that education to improve their production capacities, and that solves the food problem. For the, I think it's Nanji also that talked about the tech aspect. You could design an e-commerce platform. You could design an AI that makes it a lot easier, for drones to select. There are many applications. So whenever, especially for those of us in this session, as you are improving your learning and the likes, please be careful when you want to align to SDGs that are necessarily similar to your labels. you're an educator, it's not bad enough to look at the education aspect of the SDGs, but now look at it, do your extensive research into each of the SDGs. I get to see at least 5 to 7 to 10 to 15 points as to how each person or how each SDG can be achieved, because that's what the United Nations is using to guide us. So next time somebody asks you in terms of your impact or your project, which SDG are you aligned to? Don't just say education. What aspect of education? You have to break it down to the barest minimum, and there are guiding principles underneath this. So I'm just trying to tell us, please note it down. Go and do your extensive research into all the SDGs. There are subsets of the SDGs. Very important. So why is it important for us to encourage digital transformation? We want to streamline our operations. I'm going to give us an example. We want to improve customer experiences. We want to have the competitive edge and market expansion. In terms of streamlining operations, so about 5 years ago, I joined the company, Farmers Company Limited. We call ourselves a Jumia for farmers. That means, and it's a similar example I gave earlier. A farmer wants to buy crops and the likes. He decides to, go to one particular market in his locality and then doesn't see what he likes and is calling people around. And it takes him 2 days, 3 days, probably a week to get the product. And when he gets the product, it's not even looking good enough, or it's probably infested by pests, or it's even probably diseased, or it's not good enough. So the company decided that, okay, what are we going to do? There are farmers all over Nigeria. There are farmers all over Nigeria that are looking for the best crops. They're looking for the best livestock to get as input in their farm. They're looking for the best improved. Somebody could be in Niger State, for example. I worked in a farm. I'm a farm boy. I grew up in a farm. Then my mom had this farm. And, those days, there are the ridges that are made. Then you put your land in the ground to make a depression. You put your maize and you cover it. That was how we do a lot of things. And a lot of farmers still do a lot of things that way. But now they have pneumatic planters, not even automatic per se, just something just all over the soil. One part of the planter digs a depression, another part releases like 2 grains of maize into that, another part covers it, and all these things can save you enough time. But an average farmer in a local community might not even understand that things are done this way. And then if 5 farmers can gather together, bring us 50,000 naira to buy this single equipment that doesn't even need electricity or anything, it's just something you push around, just oil put some grease or something on the hinges and then push it around. It could take, each of those farmers could comfortably plant a large expanse of land within a space of 3 or 4 days, depending on how often they can use it. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is the major thing. This is the major gap in the community. There are improved methods of doing stuff that these farmers do not know. So Afrimash as a company came in and said, okay, now another challenge. So on the part of the farmers, they need access to improved technologies, but they don't know how to use it. Okay. On the other part, there are the suppliers or the manufacturers of the same planter. So you have a sales rep that is given a target of selling 2,000 planters per month and the likes. And everywhere you go to, they say they don't need it or whatever, they don't know. So that means the people that need the planters are probably those that are in the remote areas, but it might not even necessarily have access. You can't travel all over the world or all over the country to start going to them one by one, carrying on the planters. It's going to take him a lot of time and money. On the third hand, there are the logistics companies. Somebody opens a logistics brand, maybe DHL, GIG, FedEx and the likes, or you have a vehicle that you say, okay, you want to be able to transmit agricultural products and likes around Nigeria. But at the end of the day, if nobody brings anything to you, it will be difficult for you to actually have a business because you need your vehicles to be on the road every time. If you have a logistics company and your bikes or your vehicles are seated in the same spot or stored in the same warehouse and nobody's making use of them, then you know that it's not even a sustainable way of doing business. So you need to be busy. At the end of the day, there are the fintechs or the banks that have loans for agriculture. But they cannot necessarily go to the farms and start dashing farmers the money. The farmers need to attain a certain level of proficiency in their production systems and the likes. So this is just a company that sat down and understood what the ecosystem for agriculture was. It's still something you can actually replicate in the educational sector. So what did Afrimash do? And I'm glad that we have somebody that's in the tech sector here. Afrimash decided to get some tech guys and they built an e-commerce engine similar to Jumia, similar to Alibaba, similar to AliExpress, similar to Amazon. Firstly, after they finished building it, they now had options that they integrated into the platform to be able to cater to customers, cater to the logistics guys, cater to the suppliers, cater to the fintechs that want to offer loans. They just look at this circle of SDG. So imagine that sustainable development goal is in the middle. That was the dream of Afrimash. They were in the middle and they felt everybody had to connect to everybody, but through the company. So at the end of the day, the farmer needs the product. He comes online and searches automatic planters in Nigeria. The moment he searches that, he sees the product because the supplier has already listed the product on the website. Similar to the way you see a Dell laptop on Jumia or a clipper on Jimmy and the likes. And at the end of the day, the farmer sees the price. The company has already worked out with the logistics guys to say, okay, if I'm Bayelsa, the supplier is in Lagos, supplier is offering it at 50,000 naira. The logistics guys are going to use 2,000 or 2,500 to deliver it to you and everything. So the farmer understands that, okay, for me to get this product from wherever it is to my farm, I need to spend 50,000 or 55,000 naira. He makes payments, the company facilitates the whole thing, the supplier delivers it to the company, they vet it to make sure it's what the supplier said is going to deliver, confirming the farmer that everything is okay, contact the logistics guy, deliver it to them, the logistics people deliver it to the farmer. So in less than 4-5 days, the farmer has that product. In less than 1 week, he has used it to plant. In less than 2 weeks, and that is one important aspect, please, especially for all of us. No matter anything you're doing in digital transformation, feedback is very, very important. For those of us that are into the business space, that's what we call design thinking. That is, you have to go back to the ideal customers. For those of us that are into the educational sector, your ideal customers are either your employers, probably the schools you're working with. They're either your students, or funny enough, they're even the parents of your students. So that means you have to make sure that your employment, maybe the place you work or your school or your educational facility is comfortable with how you run things. That is very, very important. If there are no improvements, you have to learn it. You have to make sure that your students are necessarily happy. The fact that a student is the first position or second position does not necessarily mean that they're all perfect. There needs to be areas of improvement. And also, you might notice, for those of us that are probably very, very empathetic enough per se, you might notice some challenges with some of our students, and that's usually where the guardian of the students or the parents of the students come in. So it's very important for us to look at it this way. So as going back to my former example, this company decided to use technology in the digital space to improve their operations. That means you just had 5 to 10 to 15 people working in a single office. They've never been to a farm before, probably. They've never even been to anywhere before, but they're just there monitoring the mobile application and the tech the tech platform. And at the end of the day, for Jumia, for example, if you were to go to Jumia's headquarters in Lagos, you just see people in the offices working with their laptops, and they're controlling a lot of things. Why? They had to force everybody in that circle. Just look at the same SDG on the right-hand corner of my screen. Just imagine all those different colors, the fish, the eyes, and every other thing. Imagine that, and now the sustainable development goal is in the middle. So imagine that the company has to force everybody, no matter where you are, if you wanted to eat from this table, you have to come and be in this circle. For you to be in this circle, you needed to be, have digital options, probably a mobile phone, and you needed to learn how to use it. So at the end of the day, the typical farmer in Bayelsa knows that for him to access this opportunity or access the better product, he needs his mobile phone, either with the USSD go to place his order, or with the normal Android mobile phone to be able to explore the options that are available. So you've not only, so in terms of streamlining the operations for the company has made sure that they are not going up and down, they are not everywhere. They have to work smart and stay in one place. What's the best way to organize everything just from the comfort of your office? So that's that. So operations have been streamlined. Everything is being done with a single laptop as long as you have internet access. I'm sure that those of us that are aligned with the technology aspect can actually understand this better. Now, at the end of the day, for the customers, for you to be a customer, you have to order online. That means whether I like it or not, if you want to buy from Jumia, you have to come online. That means you need to know how to use information online. And that means you're already learning. At the end of the day, for the suppliers, you have to transform your physical product into a virtual product. Let me bring it to the educational sector. Now, for most of us in education, we might assume that education is all about going to a classroom or talking to people. A lot of educators I know have pivoted into the digital space by looking for contacts that work with. You're looking at the Udemy and the Coursera and the like. That is a very, very big value chain that most educators in Nigeria have not explored. By the time you check Coursera, by the time you check Udemy, by the time you check all these online courses, you don't even see lots of, let me not say Africans, but let me say you don't even see lots of Nigerians that are explaining. So you probably see a European or someone in America or somebody in Australia or somebody in India, especially for the tech parts, explaining the concept of some businesses, explaining the concept of education, explaining a course, which is not bad enough. Knowledge is around, but the context of the average Nigerian learner is very, very different. For those of us that are in classrooms, if you probably watch a lot of videos, you could see that the average classroom in a remote area in Nigeria is very, very different from the average classroom probably in a place like Lekki or Banana Island, or those British preparatory schools or somewhere outside the country. So when I imagine a teacher in that place explaining a course to you, it might not be bad enough, but the challenge is that they might lack the context of your particular location. And it's very possible that if your students are learning from that, they might not get the main cocoa of the matter, if I use it that way. So This is a call to encourage most of us in the educational sector. There are lots of options available. There are many companies or many NGOs that are looking at education as their SDG focus. And one thing is, imagine you could record just like this kind of training. Imagine this training is going to be recorded at the end of the day. And the platform also has this training session and they can replicate it for the next 30, 40, 50 years. Anybody that wants to learn about digital transformation can get access to this and start learning. That is one of the best ways you can actually explore this in terms of improved customer experience. For us in education, I've explained who our customers are. So let's not assume that customers are just those that buy from us or sell from us. As an educator, your customer is your fellow teachers. They are fellow teachers. Your customers are your principals. Your customers are probably the management of the school. Your customers are your students or your pupils. And your customers are also the parents of your children or of your pupils or your students. It's very important. So let's have this mindset. So this is how I'm trying to encourage the educational aspect of us to merge it to the tech and the business aspect. Now, when it comes to the last part, why is it important? Looking at the competitive edge and market expansion. Now, this is a business term, but in the context of your of this, for example, this particular platform AI dev that we are working on, and the person that started it or the team that started it could have decided to just continue with the classroom, just get a job in a school, start teaching and learning and getting your salary, and at the end of the day, you're happy. But the point is, how can we reach more people? Okay, there are people in Nigeria, there are people in Kenya, there are people in Ghana, Uganda, and the likes. Okay, how can we reach them? Should I travel to all these schools and start teaching them one by one? It might be a good idea, but it's not logical because you can't teach as much people as you can. Okay, now the technology, let's learn technology. Okay, let's have a platform, have a LinkedIn page, have a website. What's the next thing? Let's market ourselves. So this is somebody, an educator, or somebody very, very interested in the educational space, or someone that wants to align with the SDGs that covers education for all, saying, how can I do the same education all of us are doing in this platform, but get access to more people? And this time, I don't want to train the pupils. I want to train the people that will train the pupils to ensure that the right set of knowledge is going out there at the end of the day. So they decided, okay, what do we do? We have some experts here. Someone like me could come in, get other experts, select some of the best people across these countries, get them in a particular space, and intensively train them. So this is still the same education, but someone that looks for a different way to make it a lot better. That's whatever we're getting from this platform in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, by the time the AI dev is doing the impact report, you're going to see that the impact report is not just going to cover Bayelsa in Nigeria or Abuja in Nigeria or Kano in Nigeria or Kumasi in Ghana, or somewhere in Kenya. They're going to be seeing impacts across different parts of Africa or different parts of the world in the same space. So you're going to look at a PowerPoint presentation and say, look, in Nigeria, this person, this is what Naji did, this is what Shola did, this is what Follow and Show did, and every other thing. So at the end of the day, whenever people say, okay, I want to invest in education, I want to, give funding for education and the likes, whenever the funders are looking for where to put in their money, they don't just look for giving their money to just one person that's in just a single classroom. Each person wants to make sure their money gets value, so they're looking for people that they can have more extensive impact in whatever they're doing. At the end of the day, when you look at all the platforms, these guys have just one platform, but they've had different cohorts of training. They've taught a lot of people, and at the end of the day, if I put my money here, I can reach across 5 countries and about 20 or 100 or 50 educators across. That's how it comes in. So whenever someone says, I have money or I want to invest in education or whatever, no, don't bother yourself. Go to AI Dev. Whatever, go to AI Dev. They're the best. And that's how it gets to start. So I'm trying to encourage us that as we are learning from these sessions, please, it's very, very important that you learn how to package yourselves as teachers, as educators. Okay? Probably the permission of your school and the likes. Put what you are doing out there. If there are volunteer opportunities, take your students out there, but do a lot of things. But then let me just not waste too much time. I spent too much time on this. The next one is looking at the key components of the digital transformation system. At one point, we have the people, the technology, and the processes. And my friends, let me tell us that these 3 things, PTP, or depending on how you want to use it, they are one of the basic tenets of every business you can think about. Assume that you're an average businesswoman also. I shared the story. I had a training with some members of the FAO yesterday, and I shared the story with them. When I was younger those days, my mom we had a provision shop, and my mom was very busy. So after school, she keep me there. I was still in primary school then. Yeah, I was still in primary school, and she keep me there. And then, she comes back. I'll feel hungry, and probably because there's not enough food, or even if there was food, I did not want that one. I wanted the biscuits and the sweets. I was sneaking. Not sneaking. Let me not use an euphemism. I was still the sweets. I was still the biscuits. So, before I knew it, 10 sweets were on display. By the time she comes back, it's going to be 9. I didn't even know that she noticed. scolding me and all those other things and everything didn't really work. The hunger was more important than those things. But one day she called me aside and had to explain to me that, Charles, your school fees, okay, your pocket money, your Christmas shoe and everything is only guaranteed if we sell this switch to people that are actually going to give us money. But the moment you take one, you've reduced from it. So if there's any other thing missing, you're not going to school again, no more school fees, no more pocket money, you're not going on your Christmas day, I probably get to wear your slippers or your sandals and nothing new for you. So she had to explain why to me. And believe me, each time I was hungry, I remember that I needed Christmas shoes. I wanted to flex my Christmas. I needed to go to school and meet my friends. I needed school fees. I needed pocket money to buy other things. And I kept myself back and contained it. So in business, these three things are very, very important. I'm not talking about the people. It's very important that as educators, we not only educators, as humans naturally, those that are working with us, when you're teaching your students or your ideal customers, you have to replicate that knowledge. Whenever, for those of us that are working in a public corporate environment, that's what we call onboarding. I'm sure it was done by the platform to most of us here. The first week you got you into the program, that's what they call onboarding. Okay, explaining to you what I'm supposed to do. Log into your platform. I remember the facilitators said this at the beginning. Log into the platform early, use your names and your locations and all those things. Those things are onboarding. That has to train you. So next time, when any of us in this platform, we're having a session, or let's say you decide to, okay, I'm done with this program, I want to start up something in my community. Because they've trained you that whenever you're having a session like this and you have some audiences from different parts of the world or different parts of the country, it's nice to have your name shown so that you can address people by their names. It's nice to have your location shown so that you can know how much or how far your program has gone to. So that means because of what they told you in this session, when you're doing your own training session next week or next year or next month, you're going to do something similar. So I'm seeing future Zoom sessions by most of us here, replicating the same thing we were taught by AI Dev. That is what they call onboarding. That means you've moved the knowledge from your head or from your processes into somebody to make sure that it's being done well. So when it comes to digital transformation, the people are very, very important. People drive technology, people drive processes. The moment you remove technology, the moment you remove people, technology is almost going to go haywire. Most of us have watched the Terminator and seen how technology can go haywire. The moment you remove people, the processes are there, but at the end of the day, you still need people to drive the process. That's why I made people number one. People are responsible for driving changes and implementing new technologies. For those of us that have educational facilities, maybe a principal, you want to start up a school, or you want to start up a program, especially for people like AI, all of us in this room were the first sets. There are processes that Zoom is a technology option. A process is joining by 12 o'clock, clocking your name, comment your say hello, hi, comment, ask your questions, and all those are processes. Zoom is a technology option, but the most important aspects are the people here. If there's nobody here, it's just going to be me and the AI dev team. They will not achieve anything. You get? If there's a technology, but nobody's using Zoom, Zoom has not achieved anything. If there are processes or SOPs or standard operating procedures laid down in place, but nobody's accessing them, there's no point. So whatever we're doing, especially in the digital space, people are very, very important. So people are the ones that are going to drive the change. Next aspect is looking at technology. Technology enables businesses to automate processes, improve efficiency, and enhance customer experience. In my last class, I explained that as you're going further in life, as you're growing in life, as you're improving in life, please have two sets of people. There are probably different kind of friends you want to have, but make sure you have two people in your inner circle. Someone that's good with technology, and someone that's good with finances and accounts, someone that's good with money. Every other thing can be covered around, but these two parts are very, very important. Because if you are thinking of training or a process around that, AI Dev could have decided to go to the stadium and invited everybody to come to the stadium. You book your hotels, come to the stadium and use the microphone. At the end of the day, there are too many things that could happen. But probably because you have tech-oriented people and the likes, okay, this is what you could do. Let's use Zoom option. Zoom is a tech option. That's options like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and the likes were created. These are options to make it easier to reach more people. So please make sure you have somebody in your circle that's into technology. Make sure you have someone in your circle that's into finance. For those of us in finance aspect, I explain it for the proposal writing because it's very, very important. People have to see the financial aspects of a business. That is very, very important as well. So whenever maybe you have an SDG you want to align with, or you have a program you want to do, discuss with someone that has access to technology or someone that's a good tech person, probably even with basic tech skills, like, okay, how can I do this? And people can I explain, see the better ways to go through. Then the last part of the third part is process optimization. For example, in schools, we understand that there's a level of, exams are examples of processes, tests are examples of processes. Back then in my secondary school, we had for in Nigeria, we had the science class, I think the commercial the commercial class, and then the arts, probably science, social science, and the arts, or something like that. And one of the criteria they had was that at the end of GS, and I'm not sure if the practice had been done, because for me, that was as far back as in probably 2002, 3, 4 or so. But the process was funny because at the end of the day, and it was done in most schools in Nigeria at then, when you write your junior work, there's the preparatory exams for the next secondary school divided into 6, 3 classes for the junior aspects, 3 classes for the senior aspect. So by the time you finish your third aspect of the junior class, your third year, you had the preparatory exam, they call it junior work or so, to write to proceed to the next. So we were broken down into these 3 sets of classes based on how well we passed in the exams. So probably if you had a 65 to 100% in your totality, you were moved to the science class because you're a genius. Per se, I don't know what the concept was, but I'm just assuming. Okay. By the time you had probably between 50 to 65 in the middle, you were moved to the social science class. Then for those that didn't really perform so well, but they had to move further, they were moved to the arts class. So at the end of the day, if you were in the science, so it was like, it seemed science was on top, arts was on the middle, and then the commercial systems were in the middle, and then the social sciences class were at the bottom. So if you were in sciences and you wanted to move elsewhere, because there's a lady that wanted to be a lawyer, but she really did so well. So she was in the science class. She could move down, but nobody from down could move up easily. That was a funny concept. So at the end of the day, when you see some teachers, you see some doctors, you see some accountants and the likes, you're probably asking yourself that, is this something they're passionate about? Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that there are different processes for most of us in Nigeria as well. There's the compulsory National Youth Service Corps, whereby every student of a Nigerian institute, polytechnic, universities, and the likes have to go through a compulsory 1-year training. And at the end of the day, a bulk of these corpers, that's what we call them, have to be, the educational sector is one of the biggest beneficiaries of these people. But at the end of the day, you see, sometimes I've seen students, I've seen corpers that don't even know how to teach. They do not understand the basic concepts of classroom size, preparing lesson notes and the likes, and then they are given access to some of the students in their preparatory stages, some of them just 1 or just 2 for a whole year. So you could imagine some of the potential damages that could have been done. If I get any of us from this woman, a licensed educator, and I get another person that is not a licensed educator, or doesn't even know what education is, and I give the same pupil to them to teach, from an omniscient point of view to observe, you are going to see something is going to be very different. Somebody talking about what's your age, so probably some tests to understand your mental capacity, curriculum development, and the likes. Another person just wants to jump in and shout, why are you not understanding? 1 + 1 is 2. What are you telling me? 1 + 1 is 1, and all those other things. So these are some of the challenges in our society, and there needs to be a process around these things. But by the time you have the people that need to drive these processes, you have the technology that can easily drive these processes, then it's very easy to work a process around that. So let's say you have the normal educational sector system or so, come to the class, stand in front of the class, talk to 5 people or 10 people. Now, when COVID came, the COVID pandemic lockdown series had to force us into the process of optimization and the technology advancement, especially for the educational sector. For the first time in most of our lives, schools had to wait 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months. Nothing was happening. Everybody had to start adopting around processes for technology, getting tabs for the kids. Some had to use microphones in different areas to teach and the likes. So on the right side, they were looking at the key trends shaping the digital landscape. I talked about e-commerce. E-commerce is in terms of the basic businesses, the basic markets that we know. Now we're having a lot of online vendors, and that's very, very interesting, and that's very, very good, because anybody from anywhere can decide to ship or cross-sell or resell anything online and have a lot of services online without leaving the comfort of their homes. All thanks to, or no thanks to COVID pandemic, forcing us to have to do these things. Then there's the mobile technology. In as much as there are many tech options are available and the likes, people shopping from their laptops or doing most things from their laptops might not really be very attainable. So when you have a mobile, for example, Zoom is a mobile option of mobile technology. There's the Google Meet and the like. So every tech option or most processes are looking at how do they make it a lot easy. Bringing in mobile technology, anybody, anytime can easily get it. And one major advantage of mobile technology for most processes is that you can actually drop a reminder. You can get your notification. WhatsApp notification. Most of us, if you check your phone, you're going to see a notification on WhatsApp pending, notification from almost all the apps in your phone. That's one of the major advantages of mobile technology. For some techs that don't have mobile options available, it might be a bit challenging. You have to probably log in into the app to see some of those things. But that's one of the best ways to reach people. Then data analytics, very, very important. Everybody wants to put data science in their profile, which is not bad, but at the end of the day, data has different subsets underneath it. There are different ways. Collecting data is one aspect. Even defining the kind of data to be collected by the population sample is another important aspect. Collating the data, arranging them, analyzing them, presenting data, modifying data, interpreting data. For most of us that are done with university education, if you look at the process of your basic research, you have the research proposal. This is what you want to do. The background of study, the methodology or the methods you've taken, the results, the discussion, and the inference. And for me, I feel one important aspect in technology is, in research, is actually the methods used, as well as the inferential statements made out of those methods or the results gotten, which is very, very important as well. The data is a very, very important aspect, but I'm going to touch a bit on that aspect. Then we also have the artificial intelligence, which is something very, very interesting. So at this point, I'll just pause. Let's just comment. Are we following? Am I making sense? Are we following together? So you can just drop comments, yes or hands up or something like that. So I know that we're all good. I think I've talked for a while. Okay, thank you. I'm seeing Naj, I can see you. Suleiman and the likes, I can see you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. So the next aspect we are going to look at is strategies for advancing businesses in 2023, staying ahead of the competitive landscape. Now, this might be the average thing you want to present to people in Lagos Business School, or people in any business school, or people that are doing their MBA, or people that are in probably the commercial classes. But as teachers, and yes, there are people in tech, there are people in businesses, as those of us in academia, whether a research assistant or you're doing a master's or a PhD, it's very, very important to have a business mindset, especially if you're going to work for the private sector, because there's a high level of accountability in everything you're doing. Recently, I've been in Afromatch, the company I talked about, the agricultural company. I've been there for 5 years. I had to leave, and I'm now in the not-for-profit sector, per se. And one major advantage I was informed that I had over most people in that space was the fact that coming from the private sector, there was a higher level of accountability. That means every one kobo had to be, in fact, you had to trace one kobo from the person that gave the money to where the money was sent to how the money went, to the interest of the money. If bank deducted 5 naira charge or 10 naira charge, or there's an interest gained or whatever, to the money left, to the impact of that money at the destination. I had to learn how to follow that trend. It was very, very important. So somebody like me going into the not-for-profit sector, there was this unusual pressure I had to not only to deliver, but to make sure things were done the right way. So it was still a bit of learning opportunity for me. So in any space you see yourself, the basic concept of demand and supply, which is one of the major tenets of business, is very, very important. But in this context, when we're talking about business, instead of looking at businesses in terms of financial value, in terms of money or currency, my concept of business, and that's what I want us to follow, is the concept of business as an exchange of value. What you're doing now is an exchange of value. What you're doing with AI there before I had to come in with an exchange of value. What you guys are doing with me is an exchange of value. I'm passing across knowledge to you. And then, like I said earlier, one important aspect, feedback is very, very important. Halfway, I had to stop to ask for feedback. After this lesson, I'm going to have Q&A sessions. At the end of the day, most of you reach out to me or LinkedIn to give me feedback on those kind of stuff. Okay, Charles, I think you're really, really good. I wish you talk more about this and other things. My next training or my next session will be a lot better because I got that feedback. But one important aspect is value must be exchanged. Okay, very, very important. And at the end of the day, feedback must be gotten. So as you're aligning yourself to the SDGs, don't focus, and that's what I told them when we're having the research proposal aspect. The moment you're seeking funding, an average funder will know whether you need the money to buy a car or to take your girlfriend out or to do Valentine for your wife or something. Because, they are trying to study some of those things. One of the major aspects is how can you add value with or without the money? So like I said, I was teaching some people yesterday, and I told them they're community agents for part of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, community agents in some aspects of Nigeria, Ibadan and Oyo. And I asked an average person, let's say his name was Samson, and his business was maybe let me say his business was laptop enterprises or something like that. If I go to a community and I say Samson and I say laptop enterprises, which one people know very well? We don't know you or your name, or we didn't know what you do, your business. Sometimes some people say their name, sometimes people say their businesses, and the people say that nobody even knows them. They just sit on one spot and every other thing. But at the end of the day, you are in communities. And let me bring it down to all of us here. No matter what it is, even if you're in New York or Abuja or any big city in your state or whatever, you are in a community. You have to come out from a physical location, a house. As you're passing through that house going out, you're probably greeting people. People know you. If something's wrong with you or there's a challenge, people can say, I know that girl, I know that guy, let me come to help her. You are in a community. What kind of impact have you started making in your community already? You're a teacher. Do everybody know in your school? Do you stand for something? Sometimes you're in the communities and some of these NGOs come around, they want to volunteer, they want to, clean the refuse, or they want to speak to the children or something. A smart friend of mine that I had to tutor, and I'm very, very glad that she worked on it. She had this basic challenge. In the community, she was a teacher, not doing anything much, go to school, come back, complain, no money, they're not paying me to work, puppies are not doing to work, and I'm frustrated in life, nothing's happening, and I'm seeing, I'm coming on LinkedIn and I'm seeing people making, and I told them, no, we come up with a strategy. Be very, very interested in your community. If you're a Christian, go to a church, be active. Let them know you, let them know what to do. The moment anybody sees and says, that girl is a teacher, you've got to something interesting because a value has been added to your persona, a value has been added to your name. You are James, you're a teacher, +2. You're James, you're a teacher, and you're a Christian, +3. You're James, you're a teacher, you're a Christian, and you like kids, or you like helping out. Let more and more additional positive things be added to you. That means you can stand up for something. So at the end of the day, she did something like that. And I told her that all those fine guys or young people coming with uniforms, they wear uniforms with hand gloves, nose masks that clean the community. Whenever you see anything happening, wear your dress smartly with your t-shirt and your joggers or whatever, go and join them. Ask for the leader, introduce yourself, tell them you're a community member, what are they doing? They explain to you, can I join you? Yes. Take pictures if possible, work with them. When you're done, collect the phone number of one of those people. If you guys are coming back again, or you're interested in doing something similar in sister communities and army, call me, let me join. And that was what she did. Yes, first one, second time, the third time, bigger NGOs wanted to now come into the community. And next thing was that, who is going to be our go-to person? Who are we going to contact? Who will help us take us around? Who will take us to the Oba's Palace? Who will be our gatekeeper, so to say? Okay, there's this girl, there's this girl, there's this girl. Hello, my name is this one, and whatever, can you? And at the end of the day, she became a community champion for different NGOs coming in. And I don't probably want to talk too much about her, but that is how somebody that probably thought things are not happening well was sitting on a gold mine in a community. You get, so anything happening, maybe there are, different things happening, you have to learn how to be very, very active. When you get those pictures or package yourself in the community projects and you're able to share it to people or post it on LinkedIn, or probably build a portfolio for yourself and share it around, and then you're seeking for funding. Believe me, the average funder wants to give you that money. Why? Because you've done the work and they can see it. It's a lot different from someone that says, I want to do something. Most fundings or most somebody asked about proposal rights, and I'm just giving you a bit of tip. Most of these things come from what you've done or what you can do. Like I said earlier, AI can get any funding they want in the world because they have this to show that they've done something like this before. As against someone that says, I want to train people, but you've not done anything. So you have to start from the basics. Back to the slides. I talked about strategies, including how to embrace digital transformation, leverage AI. We're going to talk about that later. Enhance online presence. Please and please and please, I'm begging all of us. I said this in the last class. This is something, no matter where I'm speaking, I always say it. Have an online presence. Online presence as professionals does not mean WhatsApp, does not mean Facebook. Most of us have converted Facebook into where you announce that you're getting married, or you announce that your wife gave birth, or you announce that something happened, or most of us see it as family members. Online presence for professionals does not necessarily mean Instagram, because it has been, a lot of things are going on there. Does not necessarily mean Twitter. For each value you're adding, you have to ask yourself, what is the best way to reach your target customers? Now you're looking for grant proposals. You're not on LinkedIn. People think you're lying, or you're probably trying to do scam or something like that. You need to verify who you are. For anything you're doing, submitting your CV is not enough. When they're reading about my bio, I've been in talent management space for about 3 or 4 years. I've worked a lot in HR. One thing I tell people is that if you send me your CV, I only take your name from your CV, and I'll go and check your LinkedIn profile. That means, please, if you have a CV or any form of public engagement profile, put your LinkedIn there. Because it's difficult. People lie on their LinkedIn, but it's very, very easy to checkmate. Because when you tell me that I've worked in Coca-Cola, I'll check Coca-Cola. I can find out who the CEO, who the HR of Coca-Cola, and I'm going to chat them up and say, do you know this person? Who is that person? Instead of sending your CV, I'll get a screenshot of your LinkedIn page with your picture and everything, and I'll send to them, and they'll verify. So please, when I say enhance your online presence, for us as professionals, you have to build yourself as a brand. LinkedIn is one of the best ways to do that. Very, very important. Another tip I'm going to give you, in your community engagement or meeting people or going out for events and everything, be a bit careful from collecting phone numbers. If you're to meet the guest and you collect his phone number, No matter how, or let's say I assume you collect his PA's phone number, no matter how good your English is or how smart you sounded or the kind of impression you made, it might be very, very difficult for you to get access to them because 1,001 people call them every time. So your chances are almost non-existent. What will give you a fighting chance is when you can, this is what I do. When I meet people, my LinkedIn is always on one part of my phone. Hi, my name is Charles or whatever. Can I meet you? Even if you give me your phone number, give me your business card. The moment you give me your business card in your presence, I open my LinkedIn, search your name. Of course, there could be many variations of your name. Which one are you, sir? Which one are you, ma? Okay, I'm this person. I'll click on it. Oh, this is you. Okay, you do this and this. And I'll send you a request. And I'll tell it to your face that I've sent you a request. In case you're not there and I have to send it, I always try to make an impression. So imagine, let me assume, let me look for a name here. So in the chat, we are having, I can't see any of this in chat, but let me just assume Naji. I can remember Naji's name. I want to reach out to Naji at the end of this session on LinkedIn. Hello, Naji. I'm Charles Mishin, the facilitator for the AID program that happened on Saturday. I talked about, make one particular thing such that no matter where he is or no matter what you think, it's good to remember. Don't just say, hi, I'm Charles. No. You have to look for a particular something of interest. Maybe you cracked a joke or you wear a blue shirt or oil spilled on your shirt or, probably something that they can't forget and use it as a hook to introduce yourself. Make them remember, oh, Charles, I remembered you. They're the one that told us about this. I love the session so much. How are you doing? And we started talking. So that is what some people seem to get a lot of friends and some people seem to get a lot of all these things. But meanwhile, they're chatting people up on WhatsApp. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Happy New Year. Happy Christmas. Happy birthday. Happy New Week. Happy New Month. And they're ignoring you because everybody's doing that to them and they don't know. So believe me, when I say enhance your online presence as professionals, it's very, very important. If you're an educator, please, very important. And you're on this platform, people like AI, you need to be following them. You need to even know some of the basic champions. At the end of the day, at the end of the program, you should probably even write, and that's what I encourage people, prepare a short LinkedIn post that says, probably with a certificate showing, thanks, if I take any online course, even if the course was facilitated by AI Dev or Bill and Gates Foundation, when I go to my LinkedIn to post it, I tag those foundations and I tag one or two people. If the course was facilitated by Emmanuel, for example, I'll go and I post my CV, tag AI Dev Africa, and I'll tag Emmanuel, thank you. Emmanuel is good to see, that is feedback for him. AI Dev is good to see, that is feedback for them. At the end of the day, 20 of us could do the course, but in 2 months' time, you see myself and Emmanuel on the stage talking like, Charles, what did you do? Did you do this? No, it's strategy. That's how we have to do it. So please, enhancing your online presence is very, very important. In your businesses or in your educational sector and projects and the likes, data analytics and cloud documentation are important. Please and please, just like I talked about LinkedIn, be very, very careful about sending Google, Microsoft Word documents that are not cloud-based. When I say cloud-based, for example, let me give you this way. We have Microsoft Excel. We're familiar with that, I assume. And we have Microsoft Word. Word started long ago. So I prepare a presentation. Let's say this particular presentation, because this presentation is done on Canva. That means as I'm talking to you, I can go to the next slide and edit something and save it. And by the time I go to the next slide, it's showing you guys exactly what I edited 2 or 3 seconds ago. It's a live document. So when I talked about cloud documentation, that means you have to focus more on live documents. Let me give you why it's important. There's Microsoft Word on one side, there's Excel on the other side. Let's assume, I don't know who the facilitator, I can't really remember the name of the lady that introduced me earlier, so I probably see the man and I'm familiar with the manual's name. So let's say Manu gives you an assignment to prepare a document, okay? Maybe talk about your community development activity for the past 2 months. You get the document and you send the Microsoft Word itself to Emmanuel. He gets it. The one you have in your laptop and the one he has in his phone are now duplicated because you have one, he has another one because you downloaded it or you saved it or you sent it to him. Now, Emmanuel sends it to his colleague. His colleague sends it to AI Dev in Africa. AI Dev in Africa sends it to me. Your single document has been replicated 5 or 10 times. Okay? That means no matter what you decide to change tomorrow, Emmanuel is not going to see it. Even if you send to Emmanuel might probably forget to send to another person, to send to another person, to send to another person. So at the end of the day, you've ended up probably putting yourself in trouble. So what I encourage is that please, I believe we all have Google accounts. We're all active on Gmail and the likes. For Google especially, Microsoft also has this, but I'm very familiar with Google. For Google, for example, have your Google Docs, okay, on one side, have your Google Sheets. Google Sheets is the Excel version of Microsoft Word. And Google Docs.
Doctor. So sorry to interrupt, but you have just 10 more minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll just start to finishing, but I think this part is important. So please, if possible, for cloud documentation, whenever you're work with live document. There are lots of resources online. I'm sure the AI dev team can actually help you with this, but let me just go over to the next one. But why this is important is that by the time you send a message to Emmanuel or whatever, I mean, there are lots of options to it, but then it's by the time I'm sending the document, I'm probably sending the link of the live documents. Emmanuel could say, okay, correct number 5, leave number 2, leave number 4. Immediately correct it and say, sir, please check it again. You check it and see the current one is corrected. So you can send the same link to 20 people. This particular slide I'm working on, I worked on it to like 2 or 3 of my friends. And at the point I wanted to add the video to the end, and they asked somebody else how to add the video because my class was going on, and I'm going to see it immediately. So please, cloud documentation is very, very important for us as educators. If you're not doing it in your school and your environment, please learn it. And innovation and agility, we are familiar with these ones, collaborating and networking. I think I've touched a lot more on this, especially for the LinkedIn approach, going for events, being active in your communities, prioritize customer experience, design thinking approach. Ask your teachers, your fellow teachers, ask your principal, ask your students, ask the parents of us. Not when you have open day in school, it's not just about talking about James or Jimmy Jr. He used to play. He doesn't dress well. He saw it in school or he's not serious in class. No. If possible, ask them for feedback. How is Junior behaving at home? What do you think I can do to help him? That is feedback. And that's prioritizing customer experience as an indicator. Then, of course, trainings like this are talking about continuous improvements. I think I just have about, okay, these are benefits of data-driven decision making. So when I talk about data-driven decision making, the difference is that for AI dev, for example, if they want to make a decision, okay, Unju from Cameroon just commented, so let me just use as an example. Is Unju a good or bad person? Or is he a good member of the class? Or is he, what is his performance like? The facilitator or Emmanuel or any of the AI devs will not come and say, no, he's not good or I don't like him. No, that is not data-driven decision making. That is based on a bias or based on a perception. Data-driven decision making means the AI dev team will come out and say, okay, Unju joined in on, sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly, I apologize, please. He joined in on the 17th of April. He has been active for the past 1 month. For the past 6 months. That is one part of data. How many classes have we had? 20 classes. How many classes has he signed in early on time? 15. That's another data. How many assignments have you given? 20. How many has he submitted on time? 15. Out of the 15, how many do you score over 100%? 10. That's another data. So these are the sets of data that AI will use to now answer what is Unju a very, very good student or bad student. Now, at the end of the day, when they have all this data, there has to be a set of data insights. Like I talked about the results. So the data, at the end of the day, when they finish all these things, those are the results. The inferential statements are now going to come up. So if at the end of the day, everything is scored over 100 and Unju gets 70, as far as AI dev is concerned, and it's not going to be based on the own data, there might be United Nations or international accepted standard for data sets for something like that. He scored 65. What are the values from 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to 100 or something? He scored 65. Where does it fall into? Does that qualify or classify him as a good student or not? Yes or no? So at the end of the day, by the time somebody has maybe enjoyed his parents or his employer comes and says, you said he was your most wonderful student. How? You're not going to say no because he bought something for me or because I like anything about him. No. You're going to say, these are the data sets. He was the most active in class. He was this, he was this, he was this, he was this, he was this. It's very, very difficult to argue about those things. So as educators, next time you're having open day or you're having trainings with your students or you're talking to your teachers and the likes, be very, very careful about biases because the life of a lot of students or a lot of children are in your hands. This is their formative years. Most of us are not happy where we are today because 1 or 2 teachers gave us the wrong impression or gave our parents the wrong impression about us and probably have to drop out of school or do something else. So please, when it comes to data, very, very important. We have to learn, even if it's not going to be taught in this program, there are many options available. Learn how to, use data to define a lot of other things. I want to buy a car tomorrow. Data decision making is, what kind of car do I want to buy? I want to buy a Lamborghini. How much is a Lamborghini? $50 million. Will I get $50 million now? No. How can I get $50 million? When will I get it in the next 3 years? How much will Lamborghini be in the next 3 years? And I want to say, okay, it's going to be 65 million naira. How am I going to start? What am I working now? I'm working, so I'm earning 20,000 naira. So start making it step by step by step by step by step. At the end of the day, whenever you're talking, you're not going to be talking based on a bias. You have too many points. That's why sometimes when people are talking about some things, they're giving you so much data and so much point that you say they're talking smart. It's not as if they're just being smart. They've been familiarizing themselves with the concept of data decision making. So let me just rush through this. Like I said, it makes you, increases accuracy. You can be very, very sure of what you are doing. It enhances your operational efficiency. By the time you are the only student in your class or the only teacher in your school that can give a lot of data in this kind of way I just defined for Unju, then believe me, even if a foreign investor or even if AI dev decides to come to your school, you are probably the person they can pick because of the way you talk. to give you better insight into your customers. I've told you who your customers are going to be. It helps you mitigate it against risk. You're not going to be, maybe because you're having a bad day, you're now underscore a student or not. You get, and a lot of other things. Let me just rush to. So I think this is the last, this is the last part. This is just my last slide, facilitator. So just maybe 3 minutes, I'll be done. So I've talked a lot about, let me just go through this. So I've talked about the key lessons, digital transformation, why it's important. I've talked about the key components of digital transformation. That is the people, technology, and processes. Very, very important for those of us that join leads. We also talked about some of the trending things that are changing our landscape. E-commerce for the business aspect, mobile technology, where most of us can come in. There are also e-commerce options for teachers, in case you don't know. You can record your self-training and keep it somewhere at the end of the day. Data analytics and artificial intelligence. So this last part is, we're going to share the slide to you. This is just my last part. And facilitator, I can see that you're on your screen. So just a minute, please. So this is just the last part, AI tools. For the concept of this topic, I've broken them down into 3, and they are not exhaustive. AI tools keep coming out. There's ChatGPT. That's why I have to put it here, because it's a major popular one that everybody knows. In terms of marketing, these are some of the other options. You can actually check them online. This particular presentation I did, for example, if you can look at your screen, I'm going to see the facilitator is there. Nowadays, AI has done a lot of options, but she doesn't even need to be there. She can create an avatar that looks like her. It's going to look like a cartoon and type in a lot of words, all what she wants to see. And the avatar will talk. In fact, the avatar can even study how she talks, the way she shakes her head, the kind of hair she likes putting, the kind of clothes she wants to wear and everything, the background she wants. And if you look like it's her, obviously, it's not her. But these are some of the things that AI can do for us. Copywriting, sometimes I can also say, okay, I went to Abuja, I trained 5 people, I was there for 2 days, and I came back on Tuesday. Prepare a general report or whatever to the AI tool and get to do that for you. Very important. And in terms of customer experience, most of you are familiar with the Messenger app. You have someone sends you a message and it just pops up on your phone. Back then, you have to go and log into Facebook, click on messages and wait for it to load. But these days, it pops up. That is what is called a chat bot. But it just pops up. So most times when you go to Gmail or Amazon, and you're there for like 2 or 3 seconds, something pops up. Hello, how can we help you? What do you need? When you chat into it, most times you're not chatting to a human being. You're actually chatting to a robot. But the robot has been preconditioned to answer some of your questions. MTN, you want to buy your data or whatever, star something hash. All those things, nobody's there. These are AI tools that have been giving pre-responses to be able to attend to you as well. Then in terms of operations and admin, for those of us that are administrators in our schools and the likes, for context, there's a tool called Otter AI and Grain. It's something you can actually download and link it to your Google advertisement. Your Google message. By the time you're having this meeting, there's going to be a transcript here. When you're done, and by the time the meeting closes and you click leave the meeting, the AI tool is going to give you step by step. You don't have to be doing copywriting. It's going to give you step by step the written version of every meeting. Charles said this, the facilitator said this, Naji said this person said this, at what time and everything. In fact, I can even give you a summary of the meeting, everything up there. If you're an admin officer or your secretary, these are some of the AI tools you can use. Then for us as human beings, please, breakdown is kind of very, very extensive, but it's going to help you a lot for this. And then there's chats, GPT. So there's a video here. I'm not going to watch it, but the slide is going to be available. I'm going to put it on the chat box, and you guys can actually watch the video. It's going to tell you a lot more about some of the improved technologies at the end. I think that will be all from me. Thank you very much, facilitator. Thank you.
Wow, this was amazing. Can we give Dr. Charles $50,000 in the comments? I was running through the comments and I was seeing so many amazing feedback. This session was insightful and it was practical. $50,000. You're not paying for the worth of this class, so please let's give him a voucher of $50,000. Thank you so much, sir. It was impactful. It was interesting. It was informative. It was educative. Thank you so much. So we'll be having the Q&A session now. So if you have any questions for Dr. Charles, kindly raise up your hands and I'll ask you to unmute. Questions, especially regarding your niche. Dr. Charles has encouraged us to be educators in our niche. They should look up to us. We should be the leading voice in our niches, right? So please, if you have questions, Dr. Charles, I'm sure Dr. Charles is ready to take your questions. I'm sure his alert has been sounding. So thank you so much, sir. All right. Okay, I want to believe we have questions. We can actually say we've learned a lot without having questions. So if you have any regarding your niche, especially your niche, right, that would be amazing. Okay, Ogechuku from Nigeria, kindly unmute your mic. and ask your question.
Hello.
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 Good morning, Dr. Charles. I actually joined late. I was mopping the bedroom and I was watching and learning at the same time. So it was really, really insightful. So I wanted to ask, as an educator, can you suggest any free AI tool, free, because most of them will ask you to start paying, any free one I can use for an interactive session with my students? Thank you.
Amazing.
Okay, yeah, very, very good question. So in terms of interactive session, I might need more context. Are you looking at a session whereby, like a live session where they're going to be there with you, or I don't know, maybe just give me a bit of context on what you want to achieve by that, because interactive, Zoom is interactive, we're interacting per se. So I just want to get an idea of the major problem we want to solve with that.
Ugochukwu, please raise your hands again so I can find you, so I can see you, then ask you to unmute. Okay. Yes, you can unmute your mic now. Hello, Ugochukwu. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Maybe I can have a recorded session and share with my students.
Okay, yes. I might not readily have the answer to that. I would probably see how to probably do a bit of search on that. But I think, like I said before, let me just show you this. So I talked about this option. So if you look at this particular aspect, okay, yeah, I think I remember. I've forgotten the name. It's actually a Google tool. So for example, for the Zoom option, just like the Zoom option, Zoom has options for recording, but like you said, it's not free. I'm still trying to remember the name. I'll probably remember the name before we're done and I'll share with you. But then there's an option I use. It's very, very easy. All it just takes is probably, you can record the 2-hour session for less than 200 MB and you keep it down. So I merged that with, it's a tool that is going to be on Google, your Google Workspace. I'm just still going to remember the name. I use that alongside the Otter AI here. So I'm having a meeting. The meeting, so the AI tool can either record your face, you can record your voice, you can record the screen itself, you can record the face, or it depends. You can just choose it. Sometimes I can do it in a way that it doesn't record my voice. It just records what is showing on my laptop. And it's very, very free. You don't have to pay not even ₦1. The moment you're done, you just save it into your system. And then when I combine it with this, when the AI video to records the screen and everything in the video, just like you're seeing, I could have recorded this whole course alone. Probably not going to be up to more 140 MB. So it's kind of, it compresses it a lot to make it less heavy. And then when I use the Otter AI now tells me, gives me the transcript. So in case somebody doesn't want to listen to it, or you're probably going to combine the two of them together. So that way you can get the screenshot recording. It's going to be in video format like an MP4 alongside a Google Sheets, or no, alongside the Microsoft Word document or Google Doc document that has the transcript of that. So anybody that has that, so at the end of the day, it can even be an online course. Yeah, I think that's one important thing I want to say. So you could actually even record yourself with the AI tool. I'm going to just remember and send, but to make it a lot easy, there are lots of options out there. So you just look for free video recording tools online, AI per se. It records that for you. Some even have the option of for some reason I can't even remember the name. Yeah, that's Loom, Loom. Yeah, I just remembered. Okay, for those that need my LinkedIn, you can this is my name here. So you can just check my name on LinkedIn, Charles Michelle. So for your question, just to finalize it, Loom is a particular tool that you're going to like. It's free. At least the most advanced version need to be paid, but basically you can free it. What it does is that, for example, looking at my screen, you can be talking to your screen and a circle, like just imagine this circle, in a circle at the bottom left or right corner, it's going to be recording your face. So yeah, for example, I can make this presentation on my laptop alone for like 30 minutes and I'll send it to your dev. As I'm talking, you're seeing it. Anything my screen is showing, you see the way my mouse is showing as a circle, you're going to be watching it as a video, you're going to be seeing my face at the corner here, and there are going to be transcripts underneath. So at the end of the day, when I'm done and I send it to you, your students are going to see their teacher's face in a circle here. They're going to see their teacher's mouth. So I can even teach you how to use your Google Doc or how to do all these things I said, just using that. For example, I want to teach you how to do your LinkedIn optimization. My face will be in a circle. As I'm logging into my LinkedIn, I click on everything. I see just like you're behind me, looking at my screen. So LOOM. I'll just probably type it on the chat box. So I've typed it now. So just check out this tool. It's very, very interesting. I'm sure you guys are going to like it. So you can record your sessions anytime I send them. Most of in my place of work, before you leave or before you go on leave, you have to do a recording of. It's not enough to say I finished 5 documents and this is where they are. No, you do a recording of showing them this is where the documents and everything. So the person that's replacing you when you leave or when you're on leave can actually come on and say, okay, they watch the video and understand how things are being done. So I think those of us in tech can actually understand this better. But I think that should answer your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So we have just 2 more questions. So Suzanne from Kenya, can you please unmute your mic and go ahead with your question? Kiesta, Suzanne.
Oh yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, please go ahead.
This session has been so insightful. I feel so much empowered. So I have a question concerning online presence and business content. There is this one thing that is really crippling everything about online presence, and that is the fear of unknown. Most of the people have anxiety of what if I do this and the reception is poor? Am I even going to do it right? Am I placing the right content online? Dr. Charles, I really wanted to ask you how someone can challenge themselves and work on this fear. I feel this is one of the things that has made so many people not to be present in the digital world. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'm so happy you asked this question because I struggled with this some years back. A lot of us feel I'm not happy now. I'm very sure most of us agree that LinkedIn can be overwhelming for most of us because it seems people younger than you or probably not as talented as you are getting all the money and getting all the numbers and taking all the fine pictures. No, you're still in your community. It was something I really struggled with. But I learned something some years back, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, which is actually training. Back then, I used to be very, very reserved. I don't want anybody to know me. I used to be very, very shy, just be at the background. I wanted to do all the work and then someone else to take the glory. I've been in that place before. But I was in a training some years ago. It's a global leadership summit. I joined virtually. And they talked about a young Asian guy that started a series on YouTube called Chasing Rejection. That's what they call it because it's a major fear. So, it was an Asian in the US and he was fat, wore glasses, who looked very, very boring, introverted and everything. So he didn't have much friends in school. And in fact, he was scared of getting a no. So he was very, very careful. He did not to go to the school bus. He had to take a bike to school and everything. So he was very, very careful until one day, I don't know, but something kind of triggered him. Then he started a series on YouTube called Chasing Rejection. So he got a camera and he basically got some money and traveled around the US. In fact, he was asking people for the most random things so that he wanted to get no. He told himself he was chasing to get 100 no's. So first no, okay, number 1, second no, number 2, third no. So he asked for. He went to a restaurant and told them that he wanted donuts, 5 donuts in the shape and in the colors of the Olympic Games. Those 5 different colors and everything. And funny enough, the person in the restaurant said, "I've never done it before." Called our boss that this is what this guy wanted. And they laughed. They said, "Okay, we've never done it before, but it's going to be good to us." The guy had the camera, and then they all went. 3 of the staff went and did the thing and gave it to him for free. He went to someone's house and knocked and said they wanted to use the toilets. And the person looked at him and like, "Hey, that's so bold. Nobody has asked me for that before." He could walk to people and say, "Can I touch your dog? Can I do this? Can I do that?" And I think at the end of the day, one major thing I learned from the video, and that was what the presenter talked about, was that rejection is just a game of numbers. Okay, let's assume you want to apply to a university in the US to study. You could decide to choose to apply to Harvard and Columbia University. They reject you. At the end of the day, I rejected. They don't want to get. You're not good enough. But now imagine if you were prudent enough to apply to 10. Out of the 10, 2 might ignore you, Three might reject you. One might actually give you feedback or something. So the more options you try, you don't know. I mean, when it comes to fear, chase that rejection. One thing I do on LinkedIn is that the reason why people seem to be overwhelming you on LinkedIn or online is because you're not even putting content out there. For you to ask, for example, you've done a lot of amazing projects in your communities, but you just felt it was a charity game or something. No, somebody else had not done as much as you did, but they took nice pictures and they posted it on LinkedIn on their own, and I said, I did this with my team, I did this with their team, my team. But your idea, you're probably even a bit better off than that person, but at the end of the day, you're not putting yourself out there. So one thing is online, and that's a final answer to your question. Be careful about watching out for engagement and likes. It's not enough. It's not what you need at this point in time. Especially if you can, as long as you don't have any security concern, maybe you're not a protected citizen, or you're not running away from maybe someone or something that's going to make sure that you don't want to show yourself out there. I mean, there are various clauses to those things. But as an educator, and also please, I want to just probably give us a note of concern or warning. Probably when you're putting a lot of content out there, you need to ask for permission. Some parents would not want the faces of their kids out there in public. Some parents will not want, some schools might not even appreciate it. I've once gone to an orphanage for an intervention program. I wanted to take pictures, and they said, no, we should not show the face of anybody. You could take the facilities and the buildings and other activities, but people have to turn their backs because they're very, very careful about protecting individuals. But one thing I'll tell you is chase rejection. In fact, when you assume you get to know, the worst you could actually get was just why you did it. But I think it's very important for you to put yourself out there and don't look at what other people are doing. You need to do it in your own context. If you post something, now, here's one funny thing on LinkedIn. You post a picture, there's what is called likes, there's what is called repost, there's what is called engagements, there's what is called, I've forgotten the third, okay, that's what is called engagements. And I've forgotten the fourth one. That fourth one is something people don't know, except if you're on LinkedIn Premium, for example. That fourth one says how many people saw your post. If you're on the premium versions of Instagram and Facebook and the likes, the fact that I scrolled through, I saw your post and I scrolled past, LinkedIn has recorded it as one person saw your post. So you could post something, you see 5 likes, but if you are not careful enough, you assume that you're not good enough, but you could actually see that 3,000 people saw that your post. That meant 3,000 people somewhere in their subconscious had a picture of the fact that somebody in Kenya did something like this. By the time you post something similar, something better, the next week or the next month, it has recorded. Next time they say, like, I've seen this before, third or fourth time, the fifth time. So be very, very careful about checking out for comments and likes and all those other things. They are not the major measurements of your success. The fact is that if you're putting something online, you're putting it there because you don't want to keep it as a virtual record or you want people to see it. What helps you track other people have seen it? I'm not sure if engagement is the right term. I'm just kind of mixing the term. But there's something that shows you how many people have seen it with their eyes. If you're familiar with Google Ads or Facebook Ads and Instagram Ads, they call it eyeball marketing per se. You don't want them to click on anything. You just want them to see it. It tells you that for example, this particular training is showing me that there are 117 people in this class. But at the end, okay, thank you. Yeah, precious. Thank you very much. That's so wonderful. It's insights. Yeah, thank you. That's insights. It's insights that they call it. Insight tells you how many people saw it, where they are. Are they in the US? Are they in Nigeria? What industry are they in? What job roles do they have? What is their company start and all those other things. So please, next time to put yourself out there, be very, very, don't be too rigid. So you need to probably be a bit more learning, but be very, very confident at first to put yourself out there. But notice that don't look at those likes and comments. They are not the major things you need, especially when you're starting off. Insights are what you should chase. So the more you can get access to your insight, it won't tell you more. Sometimes I post something and I found out that it appeals more to foreign audience than it appeals to Nigerian audience and all those other things. So I think that can help you answer. Thank you.
I feel like we just went through another session with you, sir. Thank you so much for that. Yes, so to round up the Q&A session, I'll be calling on Abubakar from Katsina. Could you please unmute your mic?
Hello, good morning, ma. Good morning,
good
everyone.
morning.
Sir, I want you to maybe give an examples of what ways can a person follows to improve customers' experience.
Okay,
Hello?
so if I might ask, a customer experience in what, is it a business or what line, what angle? Who are the customers? What are they buying?
Please unmute your mic, Abubakar.
I said under business transformation, you made mention to improve customers' experience. So what are the possible ways that can we follow to improve that customer experience, our customers' experiences?
Okay, so let me give it because I wanted to confirm in the context of your question. So I'm just going to be very, very short with my response. In the business management field, there's what we call product market fit. Product market fit is not based on, okay, so in businesses, when it comes to customers, there are two aspects of engagement with customers. That's what they call customer acquisition and customer retention. The experience for the two sets of customers are very, very different. Let's assume you are selling, you open a new school. Customer acquisition means you want a family that lives in another state to take their kids from that state to your school. So how will you get people like that to know about your school? They're probably going to churches and mosques around those places. They're probably going to newspapers. They're going to different ways to get new people that don't even know about a business. So I'm going to use your school as a business now. You have a lesson that you're doing. For most of us that don't necessarily need to have schools, you have a holiday lesson you're doing. Your customers are probably going to, your customers in this context might not necessarily be the students. Remember, like I said, your customers might be the decision makers. They might be the principal, because if the principal comes out and announces that all of you, by the time you guys are on holiday, go to Mohammed's holiday lesson. It's one of the best. That's the best advert they can give you. So that is the way of acquiring customers. You want to go to schools, you probably want to go to parents. Most of the parents are either going to be in offices or they'll be in churches or mosques or recreational centers, or they want to talk to some of the students themselves. So those are, so what I just talked about is customer categorization. You categorize your customers. The people that are going to, they're going to learn or gain from your knowledge that are passing is the students. But the people that make the decision as to which student comes to your lesson is either going to be the principal of their schools or their parents or probably even the students themselves. So that is categorizing customers. In terms of acquisition is now from your different categories of customers, where are they? Where can you get them? Okay, principals, obviously, if you go for a PTA meeting, for example, in a school, you meet the principals and the parents there. Now, that's in terms of acquisition. Now, in terms of retention, if students are coming to your lessons and they're failing, or maybe something's happening and they're being beaten or some other things like that, they might not to come back. So so in terms of the business concepts, customer product market fit talks more about customer retention. After the first session or first term, how many of you had 50 students in your lesson in your first term? At the end of the first term, they reduced to 49. Okay, let me say they reduced to 30. Now, in terms of the data-driven decision making, by the time I'm looking, okay, we started first term, at the end of first term, they are now 30. That means 20 dropped off. At second term, when you now check your data, you now find out that they are now 45. Your data should tell you that 50 started in first term. Out of the 50, 20 dropped down. That's now 30. But out of the 30, 15 more came in. That is now why it's 45. So your product market fit is actually looking at those 30 that are remaining. So the more people you carry over to the next session, to the next. So if you have one particular, maybe 5 students that for the past 5 years, they've been attending your lesson from just 1 to just 3. That is the context of business is product market fit. And how you're going to get that into a customer experience is to go and talk to the parents or talk to the student and ask them, why are you coming back? In the business landscape, product market fit talks about if I'm doing bottled water, for example. The fact that I sold 500 bottled waters 500 bottles of water in last month is not enough. That's acquisition. People can come and buy the first time. When I keep selling 5,000 bottles of water to the same set of people, the second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, that is what is called retention. You've retained them. They are okay. They are coming back every time. So as a business person, it's not just enough. That is what you should chase. So don't chase that first. For example, for the lady that asked about LinkedIn, don't chase that first 200 likes or 20 comments. Chase continuous comments from the same people. By the time they post today, Dr. Charles likes that comment. Post tomorrow, Charles likes that comment. Next tomorrow, then there's a reason why Charles is liking your comments. Charles is now a retained customer. There's a reason why that person is buying 5,000 every month. There's a reason why that student is coming back every time. So as a business person or as someone that's looking at data or someone that's looking at digital growth or whatever, or someone that wants to improve, those your repeat customers that are coming back every time, you need to go and ask them why. That is where feedback comes in. If you ask them why and they say, for example, they like the way you speak English, or your classroom has AC, or you used to give them food in the afternoon, or your customer tells you that he likes your packaging, or he likes the fact that your bottled water tastes good, or the fact that your LinkedIn client tells you that, or maybe Charles tells you that, your LinkedIn posts are very, very wonderful, he likes your English, you use fine pictures. Those are feedback. But then use that feedback to improve your business. You're not going to have more people like Charles liking your comments. You're not going to have more people like those students coming to your classroom and staying back. You're not going to have more people like that man that's buying 5,000 units. So when it comes to improving customer experience, first off is to learn how to categorize your customers. Look for the product you are doing, for example, who are the ideal customers. You're having a holiday lesson, your customers are not the students. Ready customers can be the teachers per se or the principal that can make a decision on who comes to your school. If a principal comes out and says Mohammed's school is nonsense, nobody should go there again, or Mohammed's lesson is not good enough, and maybe kids are not safe or whatever, your business has spoiled. So the point is to categorize the ideal customers on one phase. That's part one. Part two, to now find out how can you reach your ideal customers. Where will you see the principals? When the government of Niger State says that all principals are coming to Niger State for a 3-day meeting, that's the best time you can meet all the principals at once. Share your flyers or talk to them or whatever. The parents, where can you meet them? PTA meeting or in churches or in mosque or somewhere else. The students, where can you meet them? In their classroom or in their holiday lessons or playgrounds or something like that. So from defining your product or your service to categorizing your customers, to identify where your customers are, to marketing to your customers, then when they come in to your business and they buy the first time or they pay the first time, that's now what you call your customer acquisition. You've acquired your customer, they've patronized your business. Then when they come back again, so when they patronize your business after acquisition, you want to ask them why they bought from you. Then when they come back the second time and the third time and the fourth time, you now have your product market fit. People now like what you do. You still need to go and ask those guys why. And when they not tell the reason why, you not package those things as your value proposition for your business. When they are packaging, when they are doing the next set after you guys, they ask you guys for feedback. If you do the program is very, very flexible, is this and that, next time they're packaging to sell to other people that they want to come and join the next cohort, they will take your feedback, especially the positive parts, as a value proposition, and they use it to get more people and more people and more people. Then also customer experience. One part I don't want to forget is referrals. The customer doesn't necessarily need to patronize you too many times, but the moment you find out that, I remember, like I said, if in terms of acquisition, particular customers are buying from you every time, or they're coming back every time, and you ask them why, and they tell that somebody told them to come and buy from you, their product is good. That means your product or service has been referred by somebody else. James, I've never seen my class before. Why do you come to my lesson? Mrs. Bola told me I should come there. You're a good teacher. Then as a business person, you should go and look for Mrs. Bola and tell her thank you because you referred me. By the time you tell her thank you, she's going to want to refer it to other people because you recognize what she did. So like I said, customer experience is very, very vast, but it comes in a lot of ways. So all these things in different angles can actually explain more how you can actually get more customers for business. So my examples cover those into the service business or those that are doing products or those that are doing probably those on LinkedIn and the like. I hope this helps. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Charles. This has been a very, very informative session. Thank you so, so much on behalf of ADEF, Africa's SDG Mentorship Program team. We'd love to say thank you so much for impacting us with your knowledge and with your wealth of experience. And those that still have questions, please, you can reach out to Dr. Charles through LinkedIn, like he said, digital presence. You can reach out to him online, and I'm sure you'll be happy to answer all of your questions. Please, can we give Dr. Charles a round of applause in the comments and thank him for taking his time to teach and impact. Thank you so much, sir. Moving on with the session, I would like to say that the evaluation form has been sent to the chat. Please fill out the tracking and the evaluation form before the session ends. And I have a few information and announcements for you. As part of our unwavering commitment to your growth and development, we kindly request your active participation in our specialized monthly performance growth evaluation form. This report serves as a valuable tool for tracking your progress, understanding your challenges, and tailoring our support to meet your specific needs. Completing this report is essential to ensure you derive the maximum benefit from this mentorship experience. So we are going to be having a September performance growth report, and the link will be activated today, Saturday, September 30th. Please take a moment to complete the report before midnight. It's not going to be a long form to fill. Then we have the workshop report submission. Every SDG team is expected to submit a workshop report using the templates provided in their email. This report should encompass the insights and progress made during the SDGs-AMP workshop conducted by your team in September. You can conveniently submit your report via the link shared in the email on or before midnight, Tuesday, 3rd of October. kindly note that this submission is meant to be completed by the team leader only, team leaders only, and also ensure that your report is absolutely renamed in this format: AMP/SDG1, AMP/SDG2, AMP/SDG3 work reports, and so on. Before submitting, make sure your report is rightly and correctly named. It is very, very important. So thank you so much for joining today's class. It was very impactful, and I hope that we will all become the voices in our niche, the leaders in our niche, and we are making impact and educating, and also leveraging on the digital space, and also leveraging on technology to put out our message out there to make impact among the lives of other people. Thank you so much, change leaders, and it was lovely having you on today's call. Thank you.